Yes, folks, hello, welcome once again to MoDXtra Games and Collectibles. I'm Chris, this is my channel, absolute pleasure to have you with me here today. And it's San Diego Comic-Con G.I. Joe Classified Series Preview Part 2, because in addition to the digital renders that were spread out across the socials in the days preceding the San Diego Comic-Con event, the panel itself added some more on top. I thought this might be the case. I think I even said so in the last video, in the preview part 1, as it is now, that I hope that's not the sum total of everything they're showing. And it proved to be the case that there's, in fact, quite a few exciting little bits and bobs to take a look at. So join me now as we go and take a look at the reveals, the fresh new reveals, and the info they gave us about the reveals that happened in the week. Yeah, that's right. So yeah, let's do it. Let's get on with it. All right, folks, well, I'm actually going out of order compared to the order they did in the panel because I'm jumping first to the 5 renders that I mentioned before that were pre-revealed, released through Full Force Podcast, Adventures in Collecting, Entertainment Earth, Big Bad Toy Store, and who was the other one? Secret Galaxy, prior to the San Diego Comic-Con event, which was this Mainframe, Grim Viper, Wetsuit Sci-Fi, and Desert Scorpion that's on screen right now. So we've seen these, I talked about these and sort of reviewed them or previewed them in the the video installment prior to this, so that's all good and fine. There was some promo shots, so if you want to go and have a look at the in-hand stuff, go rooting around. The promo shots are up on the Hasbro Pulse social media pages. But what they did say is that these are going up for pre-order on the 29th. On the 29th of July at 1 PM Eastern Time, the usual routine. So not only did they drop these renders a little bit earlier than the event itself, but they've also lined up the pre-order window opening up as well. So the 29th, which is Tuesday next week. So make sure, you know, you're scheduling your time accordingly if you want to try and get your hands on these. So that was fine. That wasn't a surprise. But in addition to these guys, they're also opening up another pre-order on Tuesday the 29th, which is this. It's the Steel Core Sentry and Battle Station set. This is going to be a Pulse exclusive. So whereas the others are mainline, you got your 4 mainline wave, your character with creature with the Desert Scorpion. We've also got this, a Hasbro Pulse exclusive, the Steel Core Sentry and Battle Station. And, you know, I've got some thoughts on this. If I jump over to my next slide, actually, here we go. There's the digital render, which just kind of shows everything. Although that's not up to their usual digital render standard. We can see that this is essentially the Trench Viper and, what's it called? Trench Viper and modular fortification set. But a G.I. Joe version with a Steel Core Trooper and a kind of shift up in weaponry. So they've got the 2 sets of ladders, got the sandbag wall, got the kind of modular 3-part unit with the searchlight and the telecoms dish on it. But the weaponry selection is what appears to be a missile launcher and a double machine gun, big old double machine gun with some fat kind of ammo canisters underneath there. I had said a while ago, actually, that I would be disappointed if, when they gave us the name-only reveal of the Steel Core Sentry and Battle Station set, I did say that I would be disappointed if it was just basically a repaint of the modular fortification from the Trench Viper set. And I am. I would have liked something more unique, more special, more G.I. Joe in flavour. But, you know, they've made at least some effort to change it up and make it a little bit different with the weapon selection, at least. I'm not a fan of the Steel Core Troopers. I haven't picked up any of the Steel Core stuff at all through the course of the line, so it's a bit bland. Whether if I go back a slide, whether they've kind of improved the sandbags, I find the sandbags a little bit plasticky. Been meaning to sort out a bit of a wash or something on them to give them a bit more life. But yeah, I'm not sure I've got a place for it in my collection. I bought the Cobra one because I wanted to see the playset, you know, come to life, see what it was like, get my hands on it, and kind of engage with that new angle that they were taking with G.I. Joe Classified Series, and also to show its support so that they would then continue making more playsets. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm in two minds about this one, to be honest. Also kind of felt like there was more space for a random trooper like the Trench Viper for me than there is for a random Steel Corps trooper. Although it's not, it's easy enough to head swap it and use the body for something else. I mean, it's a pretty standard, toy soldier kind of thing, with a combat vest and camouflage pants on and stuff, so it might be all right for a bit of kit bashing. But yeah, I'm in two minds about this one. I had hoped that they would do something different, although to be honest, I kind of knew that this was going to be the lay of the land with it. So, your mileage will vary like mine with that, but I do like that massive double machine gun thing. That's kind of sweet. I think at this moment in time where, budget decisions are becoming increasingly more important, there's a lot of things out there now sort of drawing my attention away. There's a lot of pre-orders for things like Fresh Monkey Fiction. If they ever ship anything, if they ever fucking ship anything. Random side note, San Diego Comic-Con, massive glass cabinet with all their, paint demo figures in there. And I'm like, well, you've only released one shelf of all that. There's only actually one shelf you can buy. The rest are all on pre-order, probably in, 2028. Anyway, talking G.I. Joe Classified. So yeah, your mileage will vary like mine, but it was nice to see that they threw a little something else in over and above those digital renders that were revealed earlier in the week. Kind of gave it a bit more purpose and a little bit more energy. But that wasn't all though, because look what else they revealed, folks. Pythona is finally coming to G.I. Joe Classified series. And I, for one, am very, very pleased, very, very excited. To repeat a story that I know the regulars around these parts will be familiar with, but for me here in the United Kingdom, collecting G.I. Joe was driven by the Action Force comic that I read, the Marvel UK Action Force comic. I didn't know what G.I. Joe was. It was Action Force to me. My first experience of animated G.I. Joe was the movie, G.I. Joe the movie. Prior to that point, I collected figures and read comic books, and that's all I knew about the intellectual property. So Pythona, and I said this when Nemesis Immortal arrived and stuff, these are characters that I have a real soft spot for. And that scene when Pythona raids the Cobra base, and makes her way in is, I think is iconic. Honestly, I think it's iconic. I'm so pleased that they've kind of leaned into that and acknowledged it as well, because she's got all this kind of gubbins and stuff that is echoing back, nostalgically influenced by the movie. So she's got all the little creature weapons, the organic weaponry stuff that she used throughout the film, the big glowing crystal that she used with the dreadnoughts, the acid fingers to cut through the door, that little bug thing that squirted gas into the Crimson Guards' faces, her little disc weapons and stuff. So really great to see that they've just lent into that whole movie scene. But that's not just the extent of all the cool stuff that's going on with this. Modernized, they've classifiedized Pythona here as best they can with the way that they've sculpted this jumpsuit here, so it's not like a sleek tight jumpsuit. It's got that kind of Cobra-Lari gross organic-y armory stuff going on, which is really great to see. The big soft goods cape as well, with the hood that comes over the top. Head swap, if I jump over this side, got the head swap in there as well, so you can have stoic pose Pythona, or you can have action combat Pythona. Yeah, brilliant, and just really, really pleased to see that Cobra La space on the shelf is getting expanded. We've got what have we had? We've had Once a Man, Coco, and the Nemesis Immortal, now Pythona. And within the video, within their panel, they showed us something else. There was this, what they called a little teasy tease, which appears to me to be indicating more Cobra La related content, maybe a globulous shoulder piece or something, or the Cobra La guards, the little kind of insect guard people, I don't know. Or maybe they're going to create some of their own Cobra La characters, who knows? But yeah, they showed us this at the end, which appears to me to be an indicator that there's yet more Cobra La related subline stuff coming. So yeah, this obviously I'm very excited about it. I've got very fond, nostalgic memories of the movie, and it's a big part of my childhood. If you're not into the Cobra La stuff, if it's not your G.I. Joe, then this will probably appeal very little. But they said that this is the fall convention exclusive. Going to be available for sale at New York Comic Con, MCM London Comic Con. I think they named an Italian one, the Italian Comic Con, which was it Luca Comics? I forget, I didn't note it down properly. And then available on Hasbro Pulse afterwards. Which, incidentally, if there's anyone out there watching this who I know, maybe Mark, maybe you'll watch this, and you're going to M7 London Con and you want to help me out and pick one up, I'll square you the cash and the postage and everything. But yeah, Pythona. Very pleased to see her entering the line. Next in the reveals, we have Short Fuse and Steeler here, a 2-pack that they're putting out. I think for some, this is a very exciting 2-pack because it's obviously giving us 2 very classic G.I. Joe characters. A bit blurry because I had to screen grab it off the vid and remove the remove the borders because I don't think this has been officially put out there yet. But yeah, a great set in terms of building out that classified, building out the classified version of the, the OG-13 line. Ultimately, they are classic G.I. Joe look toy soldiers in the all green, which is, again, clearly leaning into their original vintage figure look a great deal. But there is a lot to like in here. Steeler's got his visored helmet, for example. They've got the mortar, which I don't think... Have we seen this yet before in G.I. Joe? But yeah, very pleased that they got the mortar with like a little backpack carry thing to bring the mortar to life. The weaponry and the equipment and all that is all reuse. We've seen that's Rekondo's rifle. We've got Snake Eyes' submachine gun. I think that was Snake Eyes' pistol and suppressor. That was Outback that came with. That was Outback that came with. The knife, the spade. It's it's all reusey stuff, which I suppose is fine. In that sense, very pleased to see the head sculpt here with the glasses, of course, on Short Fuse. That's really great. I'm a little bit uncertain about Steeler's head sculpt there. A little bit uncertain about it. I mentioned on the Joe Bros Discord, actually, folks, if you know Eric, Charlotte Prime, who sometimes joins me on my live streams, if you squint a bit, got a little vague resemblance to my man Eric there, don't you think? Maybe they really are watching him in his customs. But, the stuff you complain about with 2-packs, hostage packs and all that, they get talked about. That's certainly not the case here. 2 unique characters with relatively unique designs that are being made available together. Some folks have observed the fact that Steeler's being included in this as an indicator that we're likely not seeing a MOBAT, certainly not anytime soon. And that's a space for disappointment for some folks because the MOBAT is a ubiquitous, iconic G.I. Joe tank, and I would certainly want one with these 2 coming along to do that G.I. Joe issue 1 cover. You know what I mean? To try and replicate that with your 6-inch figures. But still, I'm pretty confident I'll be picking this one up. They are just classic, original G.I. Joe characters. Have they been classifiedized enough? Possibly not for me, but that's okay. So you could say they're a bit bland, but it depends what you want from your classified. If you're in it for the military figures, then these guys are going to be awesome, aren't they? So yeah, great to see them coming to the line finally, though. And then last on the reveals, we have the Ghost Viper, a brand new G.I. Joe classified series creation. And how many classified series creations have we had so far? I'll have to go back and check. Yeah, the idea here with this one, they said on the stream, is that they wanted a kind of complementary character for Crystal Ball. And they wanted somebody who was kind of leaning into the Crystal Ball, hypnotizing hallucinations thing. So the idea here is that you've got this Viper as part of Crystal Ball's squad. But all the embellished stuff is then manipulating and creating hallucinations in the Joes that have been hypnotized by Crystal Ball's powers. At least that's how I've interpreted it. So big cobra snake heads, wolf faces, ghostly, spectral, aggressive creatures and things. The wispy clawed arms and that, which is an interesting idea. And I've got to admit, like, when I look at it, and I proper flip-flop on it. I don't know what to make of it. When I first saw it, I thought, yeah, all right, that's pretty fucking cool, actually. I like this Viper helmet with the skull paint app on it there, like that kind of, I don't know if it's glow in the dark. Did they mention whether it was glow in the dark? I missed that. But I like the Viper helmet with that sort of painted decal on it, on a kind of skull mask thing there. And I also kind of like this helmet too. Have we seen that helmet before? Otherwise, it's a standard Viper body, but in an interesting colour scheme. These greys and browns kind of look interesting to me because they kind of set off the this sort of luminescent green kind of thing of the spectral hallucinations that they're causing in their enemies. So I kind of flip-flop on it. You know, the direwolf there with the... Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. I think I'm going to pick one up, because I think I like it, but I'm not sure I've got a place for it on my shelf. But setting a crystal ball up with one at his flank could be a good idea. I could just see myself getting it and not really using all that kind of hallucinating spectral monster creature thing, and just having it as a kind of with that viper mask, and just having it as a kind of crystal ball, you know, personal guard kind of dude. I'm not sure. I don't know what to make of it. What are your thoughts, folks? I kind of like it, I think. I love these. I mean, look at the sculpting on them there. And certainly as someone who's getting a little bit more interested and more deeply engaged with Fresh Monkey Fiction's Monster Force, I could probably find myself displaying it in, like, with a whole other collection from a different company. Yeah, interesting. I do like the look of it. I could probably just do with the figure, with the cool mask and the little spurty outy, like those kind of energy ejections on his gauntlets, and I'd be happy. So think of that one, innit? Who am I kidding? If I'm thinking I'm going to pick it up, I am going to pick it up, aren't I? Here's the promo photos. I mean, if you're talking about things to convince you to pick it up, and that was only there's another promo photo actually that I didn't screen cap from the video that was even better, but with all the, like, with a bit of green lighting on it, and Shooting the Galaxy, man, always ends up making me buy figures that I'm in two minds about. But anyway, there you go. That's the Ghost Viper. Let me know your thoughts on classified, fresh new creations on the Ghost Viper. Love to hear from you in the comments down below. And then finally, to finish things off, we got some name-only reveals, and Emily, during the panel recap on the Hasbro Pulse site, indicated that we may be seeing some of these come up for pre-order in those fall conventions, though, that she had aforementioned fall conventions that she brought up when talking about Pythona. And this is an exciting list. We've got Lifeline there, a long awaited character. Many people big fans of Lifeline. I've been waiting for Lifeline to turn up. He's often was often a featured character in the Action Force comic books that I used to read, so very pleased to see him coming, and a lovely splash of colour for the Joe side of the shelf for sure. Then the Night Viper, which I think is going to be a stunning figure. I've got faith in Lenny and his team, based on what they've already produced, that the Night Viper is going to be an absolute belter. Please don't let me down, because I think those guys will make something very, very exciting there. Then Hit and Run. I've chosen to use the Marvel UK Action Force version of Hit and Run there, just to be really annoying for you folks, but he looks really lanky and weird there, doesn't he? And then Big Lob. Finally, we're getting Big Lob in the line, folks. They said he is going to be tall, which I think is encouraging for sure. One of my Joe Bros, I think I saw this on Discord, was speculating that maybe they're going to make use of the starting line book, you know, particularly after seeing that weird Gambit and Rogue 2-pack. But in any case, Big Lob finally filling out the ranks of the Rawhides. I think will that be a full Rawhide selection? Law and Order's on the way. We've already got Falcon, we've already got Jinx, we've already got a Chuckles, although the wrong shirt colour. Yeah, so the Rawhides are coming along. So your G.I. Joe stuff with Pythona and Big Lob on the way. G.I. Joe the movie stuff's going to get a big boost on the shelf. Very pleased to see that. And then finally, Iceberg, which incidentally is spelled ICEBERG. But of course, it ties in very well with the incoming HasLab. And there we are then, folks. There's my rundown of the G.I. Joe classified stuff that's happened at San Diego Comic-Con. I mean, I'm recording this on a Sunday, so who knows, maybe Lenny has a habit of sneaking a random figure into the glass cabinet sometimes on a Sunday, a cheeky figure, so I may be recording this a bit prematurely and find out that there's a whole other cheeky figure that gets revealed. But for now, there's the selection. Let me know in the comments down below your thoughts on the pre-orders, on the reveals, and on the name-only reveals there. But in the meantime, thanks for coming and watching. Hope you enjoyed that. If you did, do all the YouTubey stuff. And yeah, I'd love to see you around these parts again sometime soon for another video. So come back, folks. Love to have you. All right, take it easy.